The Pi network presents a fascinating case study in the world of cryptocurrency. It proposes a new form of digital money called Pi, designed to be accessible to everyday people. Unlike many cryptocurrencies that require powerful computers and technical knowledge, Pi can be mined directly on a mobile phone. This simple approach has attracted a massive global following. The core idea is to create a widely distributed and user-friendly digital currency. At its heart, the Pi network operates on a promise. The promise is that the Pi coins users accumulate on their phones will one day hold real monetary value. This will happen once the project transitions to a fully open and public blockchain, or open Mainnet. The Pi network was born from an academic environment founded by a team of Stanford University PhDs. The project's white paper, released on Pi Day, March 14, 2019, outlines a vision to rectify major flaws in the first generation of cryptocurrencies. They observed that Bitcoin mining had become industrialized, dominated by large corporations with vast resources. This concentration of power betrayed the original decentralized ethos of cryptocurrency. Their goal was to create a system that could be run on smartphones. The core purpose was to build the world's most inclusive peer-to-peer marketplace, fueled by a cryptocurrency that anyone could access. The emphasis was on utility and real-world application. This vision was executed through a multi-phase plan. The growth of the Pi network has been nothing short of meteoric. The project's reliance on a referral-based system proved to be a powerful catalyst for viral expansion. New users must have an invitation code from an existing member to join, creating a natural incentive for the community to evangelize and grow the network. Recently, in mid-2024, the Pi network announced a monumental achievement. It had surpassed 65 million engaged users. This immense user base is distributed globally, with significant followings in Southeast Asia, Africa, and Europe. For many of these 65 million pioneers, Pi represents their very first interaction with cryptocurrency. However, the 65 million user figure is also a source of contention. A significant portion of these users still need to complete a mandatory Know Your Customer, or KYC process to be eligible to migrate their mined Pi to the Mainnet blockchain. While the headline number is impressive for marketing, the ultimate success of the network will depend on the quality and commitment of these pioneers, not just their quantity. The concept of mobile mining is central to the Pi network's appeal, and also one of its most controversial aspects. This is a radical departure from traditional cryptocurrency mining, particularly Bitcoin's proof-of-work model. Pi's approach, by contrast, is lightweight and eco-friendly, requiring no significant processing power, data usage, or battery drain. Instead of proof-of-work, Pi network uses a consensus algorithm based on the Stellar Consensus Protocol. Network security comes not from computational might but from a web of social trust. The daily check-in is not mining in the traditional sense. Rather, it proves you're human and distributes pre-minted Pi coins. This redefinition of mining is a key point of criticism. Many blockchain purists argue that Pi users are not mining at all. It's merely a gamified distribution system for a centralized database of points. Despite these criticisms, proponents argue this approach is revolutionary, pioneering democratic and sustainable consensus. One of the most significant sources of frustration and suspicion surrounding the Pi network is the prolonged delay in launching its open mainnet. The project has been stuck in its enclosed mainnet phase since December 2021, where the blockchain is technically live, but protected by a firewall. This firewall prevents any external connectivity, so Pi coins can't be traded on cryptocurrency exchanges or moved to external wallets. The Pi core team has given several official reasons for this drawn-out delay, centering around security and ecosystem development. The KYC process itself has become a major bottleneck. Every single one of the 65 million users must verify their identity. Progress has been pretty slow, with lots of users reporting long waits for their applications to be processed and approved. However, critics are viewing these delays with increasing skepticism. Some suggest that keeping the mainnet enclosed actually serves the core team's interests by maintaining control and keeping user engagement high. This ongoing delay remains the single biggest challenge to the project's credibility. The conversation around Pi network is intensely polarized. On one side are the millions of pioneers who have invested their time and social capital into the project. This community is highly active on social media, sharing positive news, defending the project against criticism, and even organizing local barter economies. These believers place immense faith in the Stanford-educated founders and their long-term vision. On the other side are the critics and skeptics, who often come from the more established cryptocurrency community. They view Pi Network with deep suspicion, frequently labeling it as a scam, or at best, a worthless project. Their primary arguments center on the lack of a publicly accessible blockchain, the absence of a tradable token, and the redefinition of mining. Critics see the community's faith as a form of social proof delusion, where the large number of users is mistaken for evidence of legitimacy. They argue that the daily act of tapping a button creates a psychological investment, making it harder for users to accept that their efforts might be for nothing. This fundamental clash between a community driven by faith in a future vision and critics demanding technical proof really defines the entire debate surrounding Pi Network. Comparing Pi Network's development timeline to Bitcoin and Ethereum reveals stark differences. Bitcoin was launched almost immediately alongside its white paper in 2009. Its value and community grew organically over years, starting from a small group of cypherpunks and slowly expanding as its utility and security were proven. Ethereum followed a different yet still swift path. After its white paper in late 2013, it held a crowd sale in mid-2014 and launched just 1 year later. This launch immediately enabled smart contracts and decentralized applications, with ETH tradable on exchanges shortly thereafter. Pi Network's timeline stands in sharp contrast. Launched in March 2019, over 6 years later, it has yet to launch its open mainnet. Pi's strategy has been to build its community first, amassing a huge user base before delivering a functional product. The inverse of how Bitcoin and Ethereum were developed. This difference in timelines is a core element of the legitimacy debate, with critics seeing the extended timeline as a major red flag. The future of the Pi Network hinges on a single, pivotal event, the launch of its open mainnet. The road ahead is defined by 3 potential scenarios. The first is a successful launch where the firewall is removed, Pi becomes publicly tradable, and the massive user base drives significant demand. The second scenario is one of perpetual delay, where goalposts continue to shift, leading to gradual erosion of trust and engagement. The third scenario is outright failure, technical disasters, security vulnerabilities, or the project being abandoned entirely. Ultimately, the fate of the Pi Network rests in the hands of its core team and their ability to execute on their 6-year-old promise. The critical question remains whether this community has been built on a solid foundation or on shifting sand. The world is watching to see if Pi Network will emerge as a revolutionary force that empowers millions or fade away as a cautionary tale. The journey to 65 million users was just the beginning. The real test is yet to come. In the volatile world of cryptocurrency, the difference between hype and substance will soon be revealed.